and the seafloor dropped about 8 feet, like an elevator giving up mid-ride. By then, scientists had already put wires and sensors all over the place. The idea here was simple. Since it erupted fairly often, they wanted to predict the next disaster. And they sort of did. They circled 2025 in red and waited. Except nothing happened. But the ground is still swelling and quaking almost daily. And now everyone is worried. Let's see why. Axial Seamount is a volcano about 300 miles off the Oregon coast. But to really find it, you would need to dive almost a full mile. You'll also find something unexpected there. Yellow cables, miles of them. This is one of the most watched volcanoes on the planet. Through a massive project called the Ocean Observatories Initiative, or OOI, scientists draped the underwater mountain in 550 miles of fiber optic cable. Sadly, it's an observatory in name only, serving more as a science experiment than a proper observatory. There's no cool-looking dome where people live and research underwater. These cables power a massive network of sensors. They count earthquakes, track the ground rising by fractions of an inch, and listen to the magma rumble. These sensors are so sensitive that they can feel the moon. When the tides rise, the extra water presses down on the volcano and sets off tiny earthquakes. To put this all in place, they had to use remote-controlled robots that dove down and physically plugged those sensors into the network. Plugging a TV into an extension cable in a dark room is hard. Now imagine doing that 4,600 feet under the surface. You're using a robot arm, and the pressure is strong enough to crush a small pickup truck. But why go through all this trouble? Volcanoes are lazy, most sleep for centuries. Some wake up once, flood half a continent with ash, and then go quiet for hundreds of millions of years. If you study volcanoes, you might wait your entire career and never see a single drop of lava. But Axial sits right where two tectonic plates are ripping apart. Magma is constantly refueling the tank. It's not the type that needs to wait hundreds of years to recharge. It can erupt every decade or so. Now, it doesn't blow its top like Mount St. Helens. There's no earth-shattering kaboom. Instead, the ground swells up, cracks open, and lava pours out quietly to create new rock. When the floor cracks, it blasts out a massive cloud of superheated water called a megaplume that's packed with subsurface bacteria. It rises thousands of feet high and looks like a blizzard of white snow shooting through the dark ocean. Each eruption basically resets the biome, forcing life in the area to start over. That combination, frequent and calm, makes it perfect for study. It erupts often enough that we can actually collect data, and is predictable enough that we can build a model around it. By 2014, the observatory had already been in place, just in time for the eruption that happened in 2015. Scientists caught the whole event live. They had sensors on the seafloor that showed the ground puffing up like a giant balloon as melted rock gathered underneath. The ground rose up several feet until the pressure made the rock start to crack. This caused thousands of tiny earthquakes in just one afternoon. Then, miles-long cracks ripped open and lava poured out. As that magma leaked out, the ground lost its support. Eventually, the seafloor inside the volcano's crater collapsed. The whole point of capturing 2015 was to build a baseline. This is what right before an eruption looks like. So when the crater floor started rising again and the quake counts climbed, scientists figured Axial was heading toward another eruption in 2025. And then, nothing. Nada. Zippo. The signals reached the same zone that worked last time, but there was no eruption. It's like pumping air into a tire until it should blow, and it doesn't. So what went wrong for the researchers expecting a quiet explosion? What likely happened is that the volcano stalled. In 2015, the ground rose quickly, but nature likely changed the tempo. Magma is still filling the chamber, but it's pumping in slower than it did 10 years ago. It's also possible that the rock is stronger now, holding cracks better, forcing the volcano to swell even more. Now, there's also a third option, a quiet leak. Tiny fractures could be hissing out just enough pressure to delay the magma. Ready to blow, but lacking the spark. And even with all the data, it's still hard to tell the difference between almost ready and about to break. That's why the forecast slid from 2025 to mid to late 2026. The volcano stayed active, but the buildup slowed, pushing the breaking point back by about a year. But why is this making scientists nervous? When you hear about the consequences of eruptions, it's easy to imagine a tsunami heading for the coast. Well, it's not. You can keep your surfboard in the garage. This is a deep ocean event. The water absorbs almost all the energy. The surface might get a little bubbly, but nobody on the beach is going to spill their drink. The people sweating are the ones who paid for the robots. The problem is that the lab is sitting inside a test tube. Remember, the volcano is currently overcharged. It has already swelled past the point where it usually pops. If it waits until late 2026 to finally let go, it could have accumulated significantly more magma than it did in 2015. A bigger eruption means new cool data, but it also means a much larger volume of lava. Those expensive yellow cables and delicate sensors, they're sitting right in the splash zone. If the lava follows the old paths, the gear is fine. But an overpressurized release could rip open new cracks in the seafloor. If that happens, researchers could lose millions of dollars of equipment in seconds. Scientists might be watching the feed live, see a wall of molten glass, and then static. But the real worry isn't the money. Axial is supposed to be the gold standard. It's the most monitored square mile of the ocean floor on Earth. It was supposed to be the easy one. If our prediction model fails here, well, it's a bad sign. We have every sensor imaginable, and we still don't understand underwater volcanoes as